Is this what was playing in the club?
I don't know.
So go back to the club. r/Greenberg Associates West. We made these graphics with Silicon Graphics computers. Anyway, this is a fucking awesome movie. I like this. This is really good. Mortal Kombat is a 1995 action film that is fucking incredible, and I love it so much. It's the epitome of a 90s movie in all of the best ways and very few of the worst ways. I know I tend to come off as a bit of a snob in these types of videos, but even I know when a movie is just dumb fun. That said, this movie isn't just that. It isn't some secret cerebral masterpiece or an overlooked deep dive into some mystery of the cosmos, but it is a video game movie that manages to be a more than competent film in its own right. This is going to be a little more fast and loose than my other movie reviews. The plot absolutely does not matter for this movie, so instead of a synopsis of the film's story, how about I give you a little retelling of my own story with the Mortal Kombat franchise. I've been a casual fan of the series since the late 2000s, back when the only access I had to it was a friend of my brother who had a flat screen, a PS2, and a copy of Armageddon. I had never seen anything like it before, and in the years since, I never really stopped thinking Mortal Kombat was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Sometime last year when I started getting into content about competitive fighting games, and earlier this year when my brother brought M1K so we could binge the entire story mode in one night, that admiration for the MK series spiked again. And it only grew when the Legacy Collection was announced, and being where I am now, I can safely say that this is a lot like how I got into the Yakuza series, in the sense that I joined in on the hype right before everything went to complete shit. And that's all I want to say of modern MK right now. It's too depressing to make a video about that train wreck. I was anticipating making at least a few videos about the classic games, but...
Ha! Holy shit! Holy shit, jump!
Let's just say I'm gonna at least wait for a sale, if nothing else. But, right before everything went to shit, early in the month of October, I was racking my brain for a potential movie to watch. Now, I'm not much of a horror guy, so I didn't want to go down that road quite yet, but a core memory from my childhood ended up coming to me. I remember when I was real young, I was at my friend D'Artagnan's house, and that's probably the coolest named guy I've ever known from my personal life. It's fucking D'Artagnan. We did Taekwondo together. But while I was at D'Artagnan's house, I remember I was really interested in this clip I saw of a movie on TV while I was going to his room to like hang out and stuff. And on the TV, there was a movie where there was like this creepy graveyard, and then a dude, like a statue, came to life and did like a big karate fight with another guy. So, that's how I ended up watching this movie. And not only did I get that fantastic fight that I remembered, among others, but I ended up with a few more positive traits than I had even expected going into it. And this is from someone whose standards for movies like this are already in the dirt. Most important thing to mention up front, the visual presentation is phenomenal. This is a gorgeous movie, from the Thai temples and beaches repurposed to create Shang Tsung's island, to the moments of fantastic CGI blended with wonderful practical effects to create otherworldly scenes and environments that genuinely feel like a whole other world leaking into our own, to the moments of terrible CGI that contrast so heavily with the insane practical creations that it only makes those ones look even better. Goro is straight up one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in a movie, even if it means his fights have to work around his heft and awkwardness. Then even then, when the movie's at its most 90s in the visual effects department, it never feels like it fails for it. It might just be because it's so low stakes, considering it is a video game movie based on one of the less serious fighting games out there, but I do think that there's more to it than that. The one essential part of this movie's quality is the casting. Everyone looks exactly how they ought to look, and even if they don't, they make it work. Robin Shou as Liu Kang, Bridget Wilson as Sonya Blade, Trevor Goddard as Kano. These are faces I could have imagined being attached to these characters without any effort. After that, we get to the weirder stuff. As in, if this video was made 10 years ago, I'd have to spend about 10 minutes talking about the role race plays in casting characters for certain roles. Being that this is an adaptation, it does feel extra weird seeing a woman of Puerto Rican descent playing the Asian-coded Edenian character of Kitana, not to mention a Japanese-American man playing the distinctly Chinese Shang Tsung, especially when they already got a Hong Kong action actor to play Liu Kang. But there's certainly an elephant in the room compared to them. I'll get to that later. For the moment, I need to at least mention the fighting. And it's not all good. There's an invisible switch that gets flipped halfway through the movie, and after that, all the fights actually get good. The best of them aren't necessarily the most theatrical, but instead the ones that make the most of their environment. That's something that generally holds true for every movie with any melee fight in it, but with martial arts films especially, making good use of walls, raised surfaces, or certain ground types is often a quick way to spike up a lacking action sequence. Think about how much lamer that one fight from the Winter Soldier would be if Captain America had to deal with all those dudes in an open field instead of a cramped elevator. And now imagine how much cooler it would be if on top of that interesting spatial limitation, all of the Hydra agents also knew Kung Fu. We don't necessarily get an elevator fight in this movie, but we do get one on a real short and narrow wooden platform raised high up into the air, and that's what the unlocked true Super Saiyan 12 version of that elevator fight would look like with Kung Fu, or at least more advanced and showy martial arts. Some other standout inclusions are the Liu Kang pole fight and the reptile fight, both of which make excellent use of their arenas, the former with the sand floor used as a flourish for certain moves, and the latter with how much each combatant gets thrown about the room. Talking of the reptile fight, this movie gets a very crucial thing correct as a video game adaptation. It feels like Mortal Kombat, without being stupid about it. What I mean is that instead of characters constantly saying stupid shit like, "Pretty cool, huh? It's my animality, trademark Mortal Kombat 3 Midway Games 1995. We get some slightly less obnoxious callbacks to the games, among some slightly more obnoxious callbacks.
The great combat began.
Oh! Oh my god, he took his skeleton. Yeah! Dang. He took his black.
It seems it is possible to go back.
Alright, move him. Excuse me?
Once you go black.
Oh, you can never go... what are you talking about? What? Of course, each character does one of their iconic moves to an opponent at some point, but we also get some things like Reptile literally being a secret fight that Liu encounters on his way to Shang Tsung. The Goro fights feel very much like getting that far into the game at an arcade, prompting a crowd to gather and watch you try and fail to beat the first game's penultimate fight. People calling out, "Do the kick! Get away from him! Come on, you got this!" The movie manages to hit this perfect sweet spot of camp and sincerity that emulates the feeling of getting immersed in a game like Mortal Kombat really well. It's honestly impressive, not to mention something that barely any other video game movie gets right. The Yakuza movie definitely gets close, and I do have a video about that you could watch if you want, but the audio sucks so much that I would instead recommend that you just watch the movie yourself. You should watch this one for yourself too, I highly recommend it. That said, though, there is one main caveat I want to mention. So, this is a 90s movie with a female lead. That means for as cool as Sonya can be, and she is incredibly cool at parts, she does not remain cool throughout the movie. Shang Tsung is weirdly pervy, not to the levels of Conquest, thank God, but certainly not very fun to watch. Who was expecting a Conquest reference in current year, huh? Anyway, that sucks, but also Sonya just kind of becomes a damsel in distress for the entire final act of the movie with a matching wardrobe change, which is super dumb. Of all things to subdue Sonya in the NK series, yanking on her hair probably has to be the lamest. It just sucks to see. Mortal Kombat's usually pretty decent at balancing objectification with having actual cool and capable women. They're certainly trying to get better at it in recent years for all the controversy that's brought them. You are afraid to admit that you mixed up that art guy with Jax.
That was pretty fucking racist of you.
Why are you being like that, Raiden? You should have done that for Johnny. Yeah. Liu Kang. Talking of controversy, I'll just come right out and say it. Barring that previous scene I just showed, Christopher Lambert is the only good version of Raiden I've seen from anything in the whole series. I do not at all understand the crowd that says him being goofy and relatively lighthearted is a bad thing. For one, because this whole movie is a cheese fest and unnecessary edge would have just ruined the chemistry each protagonist has with each other, but also because we've seen the alternative for the past 15 years at this point. From where I'm sitting, the last thing I want Raiden to do is consult the Elder Gods, and I certainly don't want him giving vague, cryptic advice to Liu Kang while promising that things will turn out okay when they're actively getting worse. Or if he is gonna do that, I want him to at least smile while he does it. Even then, Raiden in this movie still has some welcome depth to his character. His abilities in the games usually boil down to shooting lightning and teleporting, but this movie giving him the ability to project his voice without raising it is unironically one of the best god powers I've seen in any piece of media, and I've only ever seen it here.
We're fighting for the fate of the world!
That's why you left the temple and ran away, isn't it? Enough!
Not to mention, as a god, another welcome addition to his character in this movie is how much he loves humanity. Like, not just watches over and protects, passionately enjoys being around and watching do their thing. It is such a wonderful break from the usual protector deity archetype to have a character who I absolutely believe would give himself a mortal form and eschew his greater godhood for the sole purpose of being around the lesser beings that he loves so much. But that's not really the big talking point that Raiden has garnered in recent years. On his whiteness, I will say this. He's been white since MK9 in 2011. If you had a problem with him being white in the movie, then I can't imagine how upset you've been for the past decade and a half. Excuse me, I mean ever since he started speaking with an American accent in MK4 in 1997. Excuse me, I mean ever since he was portrayed by a white man in Mortal Kombat 1. Not the reboot in which he is Asian, I mean the very first game. If Raiden were initially intended to be an Asian man, I would share that frustration, but it's abundantly clear to me that the race of these characters was never really that important in the Midway games. Hell, Raiden doesn't even have an official race listed on the wiki. Not that that's the be-all end-all for things like this, but come on! Given that he is a mortal man and fellow farmer in Asia with Kung Lao and M1K, I think it's fitting that he's portrayed as an Asian man in that game, though obviously I cannot ignore the implications in saying that Raiden the God is a white man adorned in traditional Japanese wear, while Raiden the Mortal is decidedly not white. That just kinda sucks to say out loud. It's just an unfortunate fact of the matter. For as much as Mortal Kombat's tried to sanitize its really messy history with racism and misogyny in recent years, it only feels more obvious when they make changes like this. The consequences of being born as a trashy franchise. You're gonna have some unflattering college photographs, let's say. It's nice that they're trying to improve on that side of things, but even then, there's stuff from the late 2000s that they should probably not ignore for the sake of saying how far they've come since the 90s. It just comes off as hypocritical. But again, I don't want to focus too much on where MK is now, so I'll leave things off at saying that I don't get why Smoke was retconned to be an adopted white kid in an Asian community when it would have made a lot more sense to give that status to Raiden, would have avoided a lot of the potential baggage and made for an interesting relationship between him and Kung Lao and the rest of the Shaolin community, but oh well. All of that isn't even getting at the real problem with Raiden in this movie. He's not just white, he's French! Is that how he actually talks, do you think? Not like the whispering, like the, there is no one else. I can't believe you're the chosen one right now.
I don't know.
Dang. Straight up, I can't believe they've left this place at the Spark Factory. But that's not what I want to end the video on. I'm in my positive era, remember? My new Liu Kang positive era. So let's sidestep that can of worms to talk about the best part of the movie. In addition to having the best Raiden, this movie has one of the best renditions of Johnny Cage I've seen in a Mortal Kombat thing. Also, just want to say from the get-go, again, I haven't played any of the arcade games. I haven't played much of the 3D ones. I've been playing some of them. I know that they don't really have intensive story modes. When I'm talking about portrayals of Johnny Cage, I'm mostly just talking about the NetherRealm ones. Unfortunately. With Johnny, you have to hit the perfect middle ground between annoying and endearing. Too annoying, and you're just waiting for him to get his ass kicked. Too endearing, and he's just not Johnny Cage. I'm happy to say that this movie knocks it out of the park. On the annoying side, he's fully capable of getting under his fellow combatant's skin, and it often seems like that is his intent. His quips are fittingly 90s, yet rarely are they more silly than they are funny. I'm laughing with Johnny a lot of the time, but when I'm laughing at him, it's well earned and equally funny.
Jax, this is Sonia. Do you copy?
While you're at it, why don't you call my agent?
Do I look like your secretary?
Yes.
I don't know how complicated this is. You call my agent. Okay.
Takes his agent. Throws his phone in the water. It's a good thing I didn't ask her to park the boat.
Oh my god. Please fall. Funny fall. On the endearing side, his journey to establish himself as a real martial artist isn't just humanizing, it's relatable. He has an actual reason for joining the tournament despite Shang Tsung's trickery, which takes precedence over making jokes at his expense about how he joined Mortal Kombat without knowing he'd be expected to kill people. His journey as a character remains relevant for the entire movie, and the lesson he learns isn't stop being a dick, it's don't rush into things for the sake of proving yourself. There's also a reference later in the movie to this idea of him being a loser in high school, and I don't know whether that's a thing in Midway or NRS canon, but it really does a lot for his likability and for explaining why he is the way he is. All told, Johnny's a big part of why this movie works so well, and that balance of annoying and endearing reflects the film's greater balance between camp and sincerity. In a better world, this is the part where I end the video on rejoicing that I get a super cool collection of the arcade games that I can play now, not to mention a lore compendium for each character, but this is not that world. So for now, I will go away and cry, but before that, I will say farewell, and thanks for watching the first episode of a movie. I'm still going to keep these videos up as much as I can, so hopefully some folks are still looking forward to more movie talk in the future. As always, feel free to suggest things in the comments or join the Patreon for a chance to hop the queue and directly impact what my next video is. Hopefully, hopefully in my entire life, more short videos in the future. That's mostly what I want right now, especially with the grander the prospects out of the way. I'm still planning on that Saejima and Akiyama double feature for later down the line, but short videos, please, short videos. I mentioned Patreon earlier. Special thanks to the Insane Gamers, Jestby, Hashbear, Indolent Lard, and Cohen. And to everyone watching, I hope you have a good day and take care of yourself.